Oh dear, it's happened again. Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Jet. Welcome back to episode of Inside Line Turbo. Having a wonderful Thursday morning. We got some news to talk about, a lot of things happening post Daytona, ratings, and especially penalties. Let's start off with the big story happening revolving around Chase Briscoe and the number 19 team. Now, following post-race inspection, NASCAR randomly selected two cars to take over to the R&D, that being Hendrick and Chase Briscoe, and they found a major issue with Chase Briscoe's car. They found that the spoiler had been modified, which is against the rules, and so because of that, NASCAR has handed Briscoe and the 19 team an L2 penalty. Now, Todd Gilliland's number 34 and Cody Ware's number 51 were also penalized for not having a secured ballast inside their race car. They just received a 10-point driver and owner deduction. That's it. But Briscoe, on the other hand, oh boy, he got a big penalty. What the L2 penalty means is this: multiple things. Number one, the team has been fined $100,000. The driver and owner has been docked 100 points and 10 playoff points. And the crew chief, James Small, has been suspended for the next 4 Cup Series races. Now, it's already been announced that they will appeal this decision, but it's kind of interesting when you point out that this is the second time this has happened. If you remember back in May of 2023, when Briscoe and the 14 team at Stewart-Haas Racing, they had an L3 penalty. Now, this was for counterfeiting a part of the car. Basically, a part of the car that was on the vendor's list, they didn't use that and instead just created their own part, which is against the rules. Now, that had a $250,000 fine. The crew chief, John Klausmeier, was suspended for 6 races, and the team and driver were docked 120 driver and owner points, as well as 25 playoff points. So, man, still SHR, it still looms with Chase Briscoe into the era of Joe Gibbs Racing, because seriously, again, how does this happen now twice in a short amount of time for Chase Briscoe? I mean, and it's not his fault. It's not his doing. It's just his team trying to get around the rule book, which I guess now makes his pole win at Daytona just that much more interesting, because it was the first time that Toyota won the pole at Daytona. And usually Toyotas, they're not known for their pole speed, at least not in the super speedways. I'm pretty sure the last time Toyota was on the front row in the Daytona 500 was back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the first time it has happened. So Toyota not being that prominent in terms of speed on the super speedways in qualifying, and Briscoe winning pole. Yes, things are starting to now make more sense. What does this mean now? Well, Chase Briscoe, who was 10th after Daytona, is now dead last in 45th, minus 67. No, not minus 67 behind the leader, minus 67 points. So that means if he gets 60 points next weekend in Atlanta, he will leave Atlanta with minus 7. So he is more than a race behind just to make it even, just to get up to 0 in points. That's kind of crazy, because I have more points than Chase Briscoe. You have more points than Chase Briscoe. We all have more points than Chase Briscoe now. So I guess, does that mean we're better than Chase? I think that means we're better than Chase Briscoe. I'll take it. I mean, not really, but it's just kind of crazy to think about it. But now, what is the plan out for Chase Briscoe? Do they have a simple game plan, meaning they just have to win? Not necessarily. I still think that they can point their way into the top 16, because it is race 1. There is still 25 races to go. A lot of things can happen. It's one thing compared to May of 2023 when they had that L3 penalty. That was in May, in late May. That was already halfway or so into the regular season. This is race 1, so they have a lot more leverage, or a lot more leeway that they can use to their advantage to get back in the top 16 based on points racing. But obviously, yes, simple win. That would cover everything, especially those playoff points, because they are also starting off at, like I said, negative 10 playoff points. So if they win 2 races, they would get back to 0. So yeah, you know what? Scratch that. Win. They got to win now to make up for all this lost ground, depending on what happens with a penalty appeal. Although I would be very surprised if NASCAR would change their stance on that, because they have been very strict. We saw what happened with Hendrick Motorsports and the Hood Lovers, where they were not happy that the Motorsports Appeal Board basically gave them a slap on the wrist when NASCAR wanted to give Hendrick the book. So I'd be very shocked if this appeal goes in the favor of Joe Gibbs Racing. Now, Hendrick Motorsports announced their 16 race lineup in the Xfinity Series for the number 17 Chevrolet, and it is kind of surprising that the drivers they selected. Now, no surprise to see that they have had all 4 Hendrick drivers in the Cup Series: Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, William Byron, and Kyle Larson competing in the 17 ride, but also a large emphasis on their newest development driver, 19-year-old Corey Day. And Corey Day, young phenom in the dirt division, made some starts in the Truck Series as well as the ARCA Menard Series, and they are going all in with Corey Day specifically. So it begins with Daytona 500 champion William Byron competing in 2 races, COTA next Saturday and Charlotte on May 24th. Alex Bowman's lone start will be the week after at his home track in Phoenix, the week after COTA. Kyle Larson will have his run at Homestead Miami Speedway on March 22nd and Bristol on April 12th, and Chase Elliott will have 1 star at Darlington on April 5th, while Corey Day will have 10 Xfinity races starting in Martinsville on March 29th, then Texas, Nashville, Sonoma, Iowa, Bristol in the fall, Charlotte, Roval, Las Vegas, and the final 2 races of the Xfinity campaign of Martinsville again and Phoenix on November 1st. So, I mean, I understand why, Hendrick, they're really going all in with Corey Day, but I have to say this. Where's Raj Caruth? I mean, won the truck race in Vegas. I feel like he deserves to at least show something in the Xfinity Series. He has previous Xfinity starts before, driving first for Alpha Prime Racing, running in the top 15, top 17 around that area, running logging laps, keeping his nose clean, putting up some very respectable finishes. He did drive his first Xfinity race with Hendrick Motorsports in the championship race at Phoenix last fall, where he finished in the 14th position. He has been very respectable, I think, in terms of his results, and I was very surprised and pretty disappointed to see him not have any Xfinity starts for the team. I don't know if he maybe has other starts with other teams, but I do feel like this is a huge missed opportunity to not have Raj anywhere in the lineup. They could maybe announce more down the line. Maybe, I don't know, something with Junior Motorsports. I'm not sure. Again, I'm just speculating because I just find it shocking to believe that Raja doesn't have at least 1 start with that team. Based on his performance last year, how much he's improved. He's improved a lot in his racecraft, and the fact that he doesn't have at least 1 race under his belt with that team is very disappointing, and I think is a missed opportunity. And finally, Daytona ratings. Let's wrap it all up. So it actually started out really good. Wednesday's qualifying was up, I think, 12%. Same thing with the duels, also up in ratings compared to last year. Then we got to Friday. The Truck Series, it dipped a little bit in the ratings, about 8% or so. But Saturday, the Xfinity Series season opener, their debut on the CW, at least for the season opener at Daytona. Big ratings for that race. It drew in 1.8 million viewers, the most watched Xfinity race since the spring Talladega event of 2022. I believe that was on Fox, and is the largest season opening rating to an Xfinity race since 2020. And fair play. I mean, and this was with the CW not having all of their people watch it, because some people didn't have the affiliates that were on to be able to watch the race. So some people weren't able to tune in, and they still pulled in such a good rating. And overall, not only was the race good, but the production, shout out to the CW and NASCAR productions, they killed it. They absolutely killed it. I'm looking forward to see what their next race does, not only in terms of production, but also in terms of ratings. Hopefully they can continue this momentum. The ARCA series, even though it was the worst race I have ever seen in my entire life, did pull in a big number, 1.16 million viewers, which is the most watched season opening ARCA race since 2013, more than a decade. Now, this could be the Cletus McFarland effect, because if you look, NASCAR, and I think they noticed, because if you look at NASCAR social, especially their YouTube page, the only time they reference ARCA was with Cletus McFarland. They even had an in-car camera on Cletus, and over, I want to say 200 to 300,000 people watching, which for an in-car camera in ARCA to have that many viewers is crazy. Hell, there are some ARCA broadcasts that have less than the amount of people that tune in just to watch McFarland's in-car camera. Now, McCletus has said that he wants to do Talladega. More than likely, he will be at Talladega when ARCA races there later in the year. So who knows? Maybe you could see the ARCA race be moved to Fox just for that ratings bump. But even though it was the worst race ever of all time, still, it is nice to see them pull a pretty decent rating. And of course, the Cup Series, the Daytona 500, once again plagued with weather. It did go up in ratings, opened up with 7.96 million viewers, the highest since 2022. But overall, on average, Fox had 6.761 million viewers, up 13% from last year's Monday run event. It is disappointing though to see the Daytona 500 constantly being plagued by weather. We take a look at the last 8 ratings average for the Daytona 500. Take a look at this graph here. 2018, 2019, pretty level, but then 2020, race on Monday, dips. Then 2021, race, I think it picked back up again after a long rain delay, picked back up, I think at 9 o'clock at nighttime, and then it ended at midnight, 1 a.m. Obviously, bumped back up in 22, 23, both had clean races. 2024, like I said, last year raced on Monday. And then, of course, this year race, I believe, around 5 or 6 o'clock p.m. on Sunday night. So at least the good thing is that of the 3 previous rain delayed races, the 2025 was the second highest in terms of rain delayed events. But it is a shame because, like I said, the viewership opened up at 7.96, which would have been the highest since 2022, the highest in 2 years. And usually, as the race goes on, that viewership, especially near the end of the race, can creep up. It can get higher. So it was disappointing to see that what could have been, because I definitely feel like that this Daytona 500, because there was a lot of hype, a lot of storylines heading into this race, I definitely do feel like that it could have been at least more than 2022. I definitely think it could have gotten to at least maybe the 9 million range, almost 8.5 around that area. So it is disappointing to see it being plagued by rain once again. I don't know how NASCAR can do to stop it, but it just sucks overall. Hopefully Atlanta, everything looks good for Atlanta. Obviously, with what happened in last year's race, hopefully that rating can continue onwards. We can have a good rating, a good showing for that race, because NASCAR needs it. Because how many times are we going to get plagued by weather? This is some BS, honestly. I don't know what out of NASCAR signed their soul away to Mother Nature, but it seems like Mother Nature has a vendetta into ruining NASCAR's biggest days. But yeah, overall, I think that's a good sign. I think with the Daytona 500 ratings, I think it's a good sign. Obviously, it could be better if weather was on our side more, but I think that's a pretty good start to the 2025 season. But what are your thoughts on not only that story, but any of the other 2 stories that I mentioned? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Thanks for watching.